What's up guys, ChasingLamely here, and today we're going to go through another roundup of the announced new features for FM19. They've just announced a revamped tactics module. Unfortunately today I can't go through it with the shiny video like we did last time, purely because something didn't work and VLC doesn't like me. That's pretty much all I can tell you on how to make VLC work, so we're going through it with the website. So this is the announcement on the feature blog. Apparently your footballing philosophy defines who you are as a manager, and in Football 2019 the tactics system's been revamped. About time. We've added so many things to this area in the last few years, and player roles in particular have become more important to both FM and the real world. We felt with these additions and other things we wanted to add, we hadn't successfully presented them to you, the managers, in a cohesive manner so you could get the best out the power at your fingertips and cope with the new additions we wanted to make for this year. It's really dramatic. That's a really bold, really dramatic kind of promise. Like, if you're going to make a promise like that, you've got to deliver, so hopefully they have. The first thing that's been using the tactics creator in FM19 is the addition of tactical styles which reflect some of the most famous tactical systems in football, such as Gegenpress, Tiki-Taka, Catenaccio, and many more. That's exciting. When you first click on the tactics screen, you're presented with a full list of available styles with descriptions, as well as the option to create your own style, or to ask your assistant to select a style for you. So you can still ask the assistant if you don't want to, spend hours on this. Once a style is selected, you show an overview of the team instructions associated with that style, and the formations it works best with. You can then select a formation and complete the tactics setup. You'll notice that player roles have been pre-selected to suit the tactical style that you've chosen to use, although of course you're still able to tweak these as well as the formation if you want to try to mesh a style with your own formation. So it sounds like we're going to have more options. Let's have a look at this here screenshot. So this is just showing you the tactical styles you can choose: controlling possession, Gegenpress, Tiki-Taka, vertical Tiki-Taka, wing player, route 1, fluid counter-attack, direct counter-attack, Catenaccio. Options. Once you've settled on a style, you need a formation to match. Here are 3 formations and associated player roles that best fit your chosen style. This is the fluid counter-attack style. Obviously comes with these options of 4-1-4-1, 5-3-2-4-1-1, 4-4-1-1. All these options here. Nothing there that I've... Lower line of engagement. That's interesting. See what that does. You can now select a specific team instructions for 3 different phases of play. When you have possession, when you're transitioning between attack and defense, when you don't have possession. This means there are lots of new instructions that are now part of the tactics module. Now, this is really good for the people who've been asking for way more control over how their team plays, obviously in different phases. Can't help feeling this is going to confuse the newbies. I'm hoping they've worked in like a simplified version for new players to kind of work their way through and understand this, without having to play FM Touch. That of course says this won't be an FM Touch, which would be interesting. Let's look at a few of the options. When your side have lost possession, you can ask them to be more aggressive in their approach and counter-press the opposition to try and recover the ball quickly. Alternatively, you can prioritise maintaining your team's defensive shape by using the regroup option, which aims to prevent your side being hit quickly on the counter. You can mirror these instructions when your side have won possession too, opting to either counter or take advantage quickly of the gaps left in your opponent's defence, or choose the hold shape option to take a more patient approach that could suit a possession-oriented tactical style. Now this has been a thing that's been bothering me. I like to tailor the way I play to the team I've got, the level I'm playing at. You don't want to be playing Tiki-Taka if you're playing in the Conference North. You don't want to be playing too much Route 1 football if you're playing as Barcelona. But what you often find is that players, because of either the way they're set up with the PPMs or whatever, they won't necessarily respond to those instructions you've given them, which can be frustrating. You'll also find that it's very hard to just make sure your players do what you want them to do. So if you want them to hold that shape, you have to tell them to rigidly stick to position. It's nice that we can make this a bit more intuitive now. Like obviously, if you want them to hold their positions while they're defending to make sure you've got that solid defensive line there, that's great. But you don't necessarily want that going forward. You might want them to regroup, get into that defensive shape, get themselves ready to win the ball back, and then you want them to be able to flow forward. You want them to be able to, switch wings, like kind of the way that Fergie had Man United playing back in the day. They'd be very defensively solid. You get the back four back, you get Keane or Butt dropping back to help the defence out. You get the wingers coming back to help a little bit. And then they'd get the ball, they'd start going forward, and you'd find the sort of front five would just be swapping places constantly. And if you can replicate that, I think that's really good. So hopefully we'll find out very soon. This is kind of what that looks like, apparently. I mentioned this before in the last video because they showed this same screenshot. And one thing I found weird was that if I've lost possession and I'm trying to counter press, am I telling these players to run forward, or am I just telling them to press what's running at them? Because that looks like I'm telling them to run forward. And now, if I have lost the ball, I don't want my midfield and my strikers running forward. I want them coming backwards. I want them coming this way. Just a thought. I like they've done more with goalkeeper distribution this year as well. Having the opportunity to tell my keeper that I want to roll it out or throw it or kick or whatever. That's going to help because I've had a few keepers in my time that just cannot kick it to their own team for the life of me. It's a real life problem as well. Like as I've said before, I'm a Swindon fan, as many of you have heard me say by now. And we have this keeper at Swindon, Lawrence Vigouroux, incredible goalkeeper, really good reflexes. Like should be playing at a higher level. If only he had a defence in front of him that could make him look as good a player as he is. But that boy cannot kick a ball to save his life. He just can't. Like he has this weird fascination with just hoofing the ball as far down the field as he can towards a touchline, usually at the shortest guy on the pitch. I don't know if that's the way he's been told to play, but it's not very productive, as you can imagine. Having a goalkeeper hoof the ball 60 yards to a guy who's 5'6" doesn't really do a lot for possession. And so I'd like to be able to tweak it so that I'm not having a goalkeeper hoof, even if he can hoof the ball, hoof it at the midget. Are you allowed to say midget these days? Well, it's happened now. But also I'd like to not be able, I'd like to be able to say, you as a goalkeeper, you can't kick the ball, just throw it to someone. Just roll it to someone. Hand the ball to someone. It's a better way of controlling possession. They've explained here there are also a number of goalkeeping distribution options contained within the in transition menu. You now have complete control of how quickly your goalkeeper distributes the ball, what area of the pitch or player they target, and the method that they employ to distribute the ball. The in possession options focus on your attacking intent, including attacking width, approach play, and what you can do with the ball in the final third. So new instruction included here called play for set pieces, which can be useful if your team is especially effective in dead ball situations. So that's a lot of new options they've introduced there. We can see sliders have returned. People have been asking for sliders. I can see both sides of the sliders. I can, like, for guys who've been playing it for years, like myself, having those little tiny notches of control to be able to properly fine-tune, tweak your tactics, brilliant. If you're coming in new, and obviously they've just got the German license, they can now release the game in German. There's going to be a lot more German players coming in who've never played the game before. They might struggle with this because it's not intuitive. It's almost for the nerdier of managers. Like if you just want to tell your team to play a narrow game, play long ball, it's sort of 3-4 clicks now. You can control the cross or whatever. Now you've got to kind of make sure you've got everything set up just right. So that's gonna great for us, not so great for the newbies coming into the game. I don't feel like, but hopefully that's why they've brought in the presets as well, just to help make that a little bit easier to learn. It looks like we've got a couple more options for approach play as well, overlaps and underlaps, as well as focusing down a side or the middle. They've kind of they've basically moved the underlap from the crossing to the approach play, which it's okay. It makes more sense, I suppose. The out possession options focus on the defensive aspect of the game, including the defensive shapes as well as marking and tackling options. New additions include the ability to set your line of engagement and defensive line by dragging the relevant arrows on the pitch. There are also similar sliders to set your pressing intensity and defensive width. Okay, So the line of engagement and defensive line could be very interesting. You mean essentially? I'm presuming the line of engagement means that that's where your players will start trying to win the ball back. The defensive line is as far back as you want your defenders to be. So you could, I suppose, if necessary, bring that line of engagement way back down here. So you're essentially doing the Mourinho thing. You've got 10 guys stood on the edge of the box, pack it out, make it hard for them to find an opportunity. You presume that's what that's kind of playing for. In addition, there are a few new player roles that have been added this year, such as the pressing forward, which is a role that's designed to put pressure on your opponent's defensive line by having a striker press them and restrict their time on the ball. Defensively, there are now no-nonsense fullbacks and no-nonsense centre-backs who focus predominantly on basic defensive duties and very rarely move forward into attacking areas. Okay, so this looks to me like they've just replaced the defensive forward with a pressing forward. Let's have a look at what it says here. Put pressure on the defensive line. Chase. It's pretty much the same role. It's pretty much the same role as the defensive forward. They've renamed it. They've given the option to make it an attacking role as well as a support on a defending. A support and a defending role. No editing here, folks. I'm just going to die in front of you. No nonsense fullback knows his strengths and weaknesses. Focuses predominantly on his defensive duties. So that's your what do they call it now? The limited fullback now, or the limited defender, or should base it. They're saying these are new roles, but they've just renamed a couple of roles. Let's be honest, they've renamed a couple of roles. Nothing's really changed there. That's just your basic bog standard fullback. And same nonsense centre back. That's a limited defender. They've renamed it and they've tried to make it like it's new. Like it's new roles. It's not. It's the same roles. They've just renamed it slightly. We've tweaked the mentality terms to make it clear what each mentality does. There are 7 different mentalities to choose from, but it's goodbye to contain, counter, because you can set that in the transition instructions now. That's going to make life really difficult. Control and overload. Okay, because overload never worked anyway. So to very defensive, cautious, positive, and very attacking. Okay. So very defensive essentially is going to be contain. Cautious is basically counter. Positive is going to be control, and very attacking is going to be overload. They've renamed some stuff. They've renamed some stuff. That's kind of annoying as well because they're trying to pass this off as being new features. Big new features. We've added new roles. We've added new mentalities. You haven't. You've just changed what they're called. That's not adding a new anything. That's just changing the name of it. If I call a rose a horse, it's still a bloody rose. But there we go. That doesn't bode well for FM19, if I'm honest. I'm still going to play it because I bought it and I've got a YouTube channel. But let's... Cautious. Cautious is definitely a word. The way that your tactical style, team and player instructions and player roles work together is crucial to success in FM19, as it always has been. It's important to consider how all of your tactical options fit together, in particular whether your instructions, mentality and player roles are representative of the tactical style you've elected to play. It's common sense. That's basic common sense. Not sure what this image is trying to show us, that you can have roles that combine with each other, I guess. I'd have thought that made sense, but there we go. Last year we introduced the pre-match briefing. We have built upon this for FM19. First, you'll notice that the briefing has been redesigned to make it easier to navigate through clearer on how you can talk to your team with more options available. Your assistant manager will provide recommended topics for discussion. The new tactical implementations in FM19 marks a real step forward in the way that you're able to instruct your players and put your footballing vision into practice. The integration of tactical styles alongside new instructions, new player roles, and a revamped pre-match briefing, you have more tools at your disposal to create your footballing philosophy. That's pretty much all it's telling us. I'd have liked to have seen more about the pre-match thing. I don't know if there's a... Let's go back to the features blog very quickly. Let's see if there's anything that demonstrates that. I don't think there is. There's probably more in the video. Unfortunately, I couldn't do this with the video because that would have been too easy. Just having a quick look through, because usually there is a screenshot section. There always used to. I'm not going mad. There always used to be a screenshot section where you could just look for random screenshots. I'm not going mad, right? That was definitely a thing. Anyway, yeah. So, aside from the reintroduction of sliders, guys, I'm actually a little bit disappointed with this. I think it's nice they've pre-built a way for you to play football the way you'd like to play football, all these fancy tactical styles that you've heard of on the telly. I think it's nice they brought back sliders for the experienced players. I don't like they're trying to pass off things that were already in FM18 as new features when they've just renamed them. That's, frankly, it's a bit of a sham. It's just unnecessary. And I know I'm skeptical at this point. A whole lot of what was in that features blog was just telling us stuff that was already in the game had been renamed. They'd added a couple of new things, they'd moved a couple of buttons around, and stuff we already knew, like you have to combine tactical roles in a logical way or nothing works. So all in all, I'm a little bit disappointed, I'm not going to lie. I thought they'd maybe do a bit more with the tactical system this time around. I've been reading through some of the comments on the video. I haven't actually had a chance to watch the video because I was going to watch it with you guys and I didn't. I wanted to get this out. Some of the comments I've seen, let me just scroll onto here for my own purpose. I think I might be able to actually show you this. Bear with me, guys. I'm still new to this OBS lark. It seems like I can do more stuff with it. I can show you the comments. Loki likes it, but that's always good. Wish you could have two formations in and out of possession. That sounds dodgy. I did try to play the video from here and I couldn't get any sound, so it seemed irrelevant to me doing it. A whole bunch of discussion about whether or not they should have two formations based on the fact that Pez can do it. There's dirt on the lens on Tom's head, so watch the video for that. Someone's pointed out the new dots might cause problems for people with colour blindness. That's a good way to start. I didn't spot that. My dad's colourblind. You'd think I'd have noticed that. I'd be aware of that. Wasn't. Someone wants the scout report for Revamp. That's fine. Someone's apparently spotted that there's no sweeper, so you cannot play with a sweeper in this game, which is super inconvenient. I like playing with sweepers. I find if I play in Italy, I play in Spain, I play in Greece, I like to use a sweeper because there's a lot of sweepers around in sort of southern Europe. It's very much part of their tactical heritage. And I like being able to have a guy who can kind of play that libero role and build from the back, and if they've eliminated that from the game, I think that's a real shame. There's a lot of databases that are for 70s, 80s, 90s football sort of being churned out, I imagine will be updated for 2019. And the fact that I can't use players like Hullet and Mateus and Hoddle used to do that a little bit, and all those great players who were kind of sweepers that would go forward. Beckenbauer used to do it as well. If they're going to be in the game, but I can't use them the way they actually played, it feels a little bit. It feels a bit of a shame. What else have we got here? Descriptions for cautious and positive are basically the same. Glad I wasn't the only one that noticed that. People joking about not being able to play the Mourinho style. Anything else about people asking about the mobile game? I don't know anything about the mobile version of the game, so I can't tell you. You can't play ball in Defenders on Lower League. Well, you can. FM Life seems happy. Yeah. So, someone apparently met Miles. That's nice. Apparently he's a good guy. And a whole bunch of people complaining about their various teams being OP or not. Awesome. Okay, so as long as that was worth us going through, that's beautiful. Alright, So, thank you very much for watching, guys. That's going to be the end of this video. I've been going for 20 minutes now. Bloody hell, I'm really sorry. I try not to. Yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for more FM19 updates, reaction for, there's going to be some random content appearing. We're now streaming on a Wednesday night. We are still doing Tipping the Hatters, the new episode out every Friday and every Monday. I'm probably going to get this one up just before or just after an episode, after Friday's episode. So if you're watching it straight away, go straight over and watch Tipping the Hatters. If you look in the links below, you're going to find we now have a Facebook group, a Steam community, we have Twitch, Mixer, Patreon's setting up slowly, and other stuff. There's stuff like below, down below. There's stuff. Check it out. And I think that's going to be it for me tonight. Well, for this video anyway. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will see you all very soon.